Uh, you mentioned something. I'm just going to turn to this very, very quickly. I was the insurance commissioner, and one of the things that we wanted to do in California, but we couldn't get the legislature to pass, was the Patient's Bill of Rights. Some of this we tried to do with regulations, but the Patient's Bill of Rights is now the law of the land. And when our Republican colleagues came forward with a continuing resolution that was actually a sequestration and a low level of funding, and added to it the repeal of the Affordable Care Act, I'm going, wait a minute. You want to repeal the Patient's Bill of Rights? I'm going to run through this very quickly. Children with pre-existing conditions, young children at birth or in their early years that have developed some serious medical condition, before the Patient's Bill of Rights, which now is in effect as of this day, children cannot be denied coverage, period. There are thousands upon thousands of children across this nation that find themselves in this situation. Young adults at the age of 18, prior to the Patient's Bill of Rights, and this has been in effect for more than a year now, prior to the Patient's Bill of Rights, at the age of 18, they were off of their parents' coverage and they were out there on their own, often unable, particularly if they were a woman, to be able to get insurance. But the Patient's Bill of Rights allows them to stay on their parents' insurance until they are 26. And there are more than 6.6 million young Americans, 18 to 26, that are now on their parents' health coverage as a result of the Affordable Health Care Act. Women have the right to health care coverage without discrimination for all kinds of things, breast cancer, pregnancy, and other kinds of illnesses that women might get. Prior to the Patient's Bill of Rights, in the Affordable Health Care Act, there was heavy-duty discrimination against women. Couldn't get insurance, and if they could, they would pay substantially more. We're talking about half of the population of America at one time or another, women, actually more than half, were facing this discrimination, but no longer with the Patient's Bill of Rights. Seniors have a right to affordable medication and also to an annual wellness visit, which actually has dramatically reduced the ongoing inflation or the inflation rate in Medicare, bending the curve. And so, and then finally, this one down here, every American has the right to health care coverage without a limitation on the annual amount that can be spent. A family with a cancer case would blow right through the limitation. They'd be on their own, and this is what led to the enormous number of personal bankruptcies, more than 50% of which were caused by health care problems. So the Patient's Bill of Rights was, according to our Republican colleagues, to be repealed, along with all of the Affordable Health Care Act. Needless to say, those of us on the Democratic side said this is wrong. This is not good for America. It's not good for Americans, individuals, children, adults, and we fought the fight. We're not finished with this yet, although as of today it appears as though our Republican colleagues have dropped the issue of defunding, delaying, or repealing the Affordable Health Care Act as far as the continuing resolution is concerned.